Welcome to Focus School's podcast called Leading for Impact. My name is Brett Bishop, and I have worked for Focus Schools for 15 years now, and I'm very proud to be a part of that Focus Schools team. And one of the reasons I'm so proud of that is because we get to work with lots of people in schools doing the really hard work of helping students, and feel so excited today to be joined by two people who are doing that kind of work. And they're from the Fitchburg Public Schools, Jonathan Thompson, superintendent of Fitchburg Schools, and Mary Alexandra Molina, the executive assistant superintendent, are both here. Welcome to you both.
Thank you for having
Thank
us.
you.
Yeah.
Thank you for having us.
Oh yeah, our pleasure. And we are so excited to get the chance to just learn from the journey that you're on. So I wondered if maybe you could just start by just sharing with us a little bit about what you both do and your district in general, so folks who maybe aren't familiar with Fitchburg could learn about it.
Yeah, absolutely. So my name is John Thompson. I'm the superintendent in Fitchburg. I've been superintendent, just finishing up my first year as superintendent in Fitchburg. Before that, this is my actually going into my 14th year in Fitchburg Public Schools. I started off as an assistant principal, then a principal, then an assistant superintendent, and now superintendent. I love Fitchburg. Fitchburg is a great place to work. Fitchburg is located kind of in north central Massachusetts. We are I would say a small urban district, and we have about 5,400 students in Fitchburg, with about over 1,000 staff members. And we have about 57% of our students identify as Hispanic and speak Spanish. In addition to that, we have about 18% of ESL students and about 25% of special education students. And overall, Fitchburg is classified as a high needs district, with about 81% of our students identified as high needs by the Department of Elementary and Secondary Education in Massachusetts. Fitchburg has changed over the years. We have a lot of dedicated staff members who are doing whatever it takes for all our students every day.
Well done, John.
Yeah.
My name is Mary Alexandra Molina, and I am John's executive assistant. I'm going into my third year working with Focus Schools, or being a part of the work that Fitchburg Public Schools is doing with Focus Schools through the previous superintendent. But I've been in the Fitchburg Public Schools for 6 years now, and I enjoy what I do. I definitely bring a little bit of a different perspective. I try to really see things through a DEI lens. And when I think that there are things that we could do a little bit differently in the superintendent's office, that's something that I bring to the superintendent's attention.
Thank you so much. Appreciate both of you sharing that. And one of the things that in learning a little bit about the work that you folks have been doing, it seems that there's been, I think across the country, in every district we work in, people are trying to examine what they mean when they say something like all kids can learn, or all means all. And so investigating that has been a part of a lot of schools and districts' path. And we specifically would love to hear a little bit about, what has that meant to you in Fitchburg, and what has that journey been like for you?
So when I think about all means all, I think when you think about a school district, in the past, you think about focusing only on students, right? Students are important because they're the reason why we do the work that we do. But in Fitchburg, we've kind of looked at it as not just the students, but as the entire community. So what does that look like with the families, with parents, with our community stakeholders and our community members? So we kind of look at looking at everyone in the community and seeing how the Fitchburg Public Schools can support everyone, that interacts with the community or the school district. So one of the things that we've looked at is, making sure that, our students have a number of opportunities in the school district and in the school day. We make sure that they actually have things that bring them to school. We've taken kind of some innovative approaches to looking at the clubs that we offer students. We offer, we recently had a student interested in Bible study. So she started a Bible study club here for students in Fitchburg. In addition to that, we had, students who were interested in esports. So we actually got involved in esports and actually have teams competing at the state level and have won several state level championships in esports. And then we also just recently had a girls flag football started here in Fitchburg, and they've gone all the way to the States. So we look at, not just the traditional clubs and activities for our students, but we look at, making sure that we have interests or activities that are, all students can actually participate in. And on top of that too, we make sure that we're involving our community. So one of the things that we've done over the last few years is, to make sure that our families, especially our Latinx families, are feeling involved and have a voice in the district. We had to actually look at providing them with some English opportunities. So we've been supporting families over the last several years with providing them with English classes for our parents. And we've had over 300 families or 300 community members, parents, and other community members actually participate in these classes for free. And that's really done a lot for Fitchburg Public Schools. Not only is it allowing our families to communicate with us more effectively, but we've also kind of been able to develop our pipeline for different positions in Fitchburg. After these, families members have participated in our ESL classes, they've been hired in the Fitchburg Public Schools as parent liaisons, as paraprofessionals, as custodian personnel in our district, in addition to working in our nutrition service programs. So we're looking at providing those ESL classes, and then improving our recruitment process in hiring these staff or these families after they participate in these courses.
Yeah, and outside of the classroom, to kind of piggyback off of what you were saying, we really do try to create a sense of belonging for all of our students and their families. What some of the things that we have implemented is something as simple as creating a t-shirt where our logo is on the front, and around our logo are our five primary languages that are spoken in the district. So around the logo, we have something that says "We are" in English, Spanish, Portuguese, Haitian Creole, and Hmong. On the back is the mantra, "All means all, every student, every day." So we are proud when we see our students and some of our family members wearing these t-shirts around the community or to come to school in. It's a reminder to everyone that all does mean all. Another thing that we've implemented this school year is a weekly superintendent's newsletter, I'm sorry. And in the newsletter, there is a section for monthly celebrations. So not only does it name the monthly celebrations, whether it's a date or whether it's an all month thing, but there is a link attached to it. So if any staff has any questions about what exactly is this celebration, I don't know much about it, they have the opportunity to further their knowledge and perhaps discuss it with some of their students who they know may celebrate it. Some other things that we've implemented are our first annual citywide Hispanic and Latino Heritage Celebration. We collaborated with the city of Fitchburg. As Superintendent Thompson said, the majority of our students are either Latino or Hispanic. And so really creating a citywide event where we could celebrate them, celebrate all of their cultures, was something that was extremely impactful, not only to the district, but to the city as a whole. So we do definitely have a very strong family and community engagement coordinator who it has a wealth of resources at her fingertips. She collaborates and is extremely involved in our community. And she really makes sure that our students are set and ready to learn, whether it's food on their table, whether it's a roof over their heads, whether it's toys during the holiday season, to really make sure that all of our students are included, to make sure that there is equity for these students, and to make sure that all means all in terms of all of them having opportunities, like Mr. Superintendent Thompson said.
So exciting to
Yeah,
hear. And what's interesting to me as I, get to be in lots of different places is it feels to me like in a very positive step for all of us is that we're rethinking school so that it can deliver to the people it's designed to deliver to so we can make our communities better. And I know any organization is tough to change, right? But the idea that we're approaching it differently, I think, is going to help us to make a better system to put our arms around families and students. I wondered, as you were talking there, are there any challenges that you've run into that were sort of unexpected, or any things that have come up that you think about that along the way we learned this because of this challenge? Anything like that?
You're right. There are always challenges, and change is not easy. Change is not easy for most people. That's the reality. And in my opinion, mindset is probably our biggest challenge. Whether it's mindset of educators, whether it's the mindset of some of our parents, school committee members, community members, there are a lot of stakeholders involved. But what we try to do is really tackle the mindset and tackle change through education. Superintendent Thompson this school year did an amazing job at bringing in all of our directors to our school committee meetings one by one. So what I mean by that is they would come into our school committee meetings, talk about things that they were implementing, talk about some changes that they were looking to make, and they were able to discuss it. Our school committee members were able to ask specific questions. And I think that whenever they had some type of personal account to show our school committee members how this is changing, how this is making a real difference in all of our students' lives, I think that that's what made it really impactful for them to really understand and to really see how these changes are beneficial to our students and their learning.
Yeah. And to kind of echo what Mary Alexandra said, overall, we really have a positive community that wants to do whatever it takes for our students, but there's always challenges in any organization, in any community. You're always going to have people that, ask those tough questions and kind of challenge what you're doing. And I think we've embraced it. I think one of the things that I've done in my leadership here is actually open up and have conversations. That two-way conversation is always important. And one of the things that I've done is actually opened up myself and my office to office hours twice a month. So twice a month, I have office hours to anyone in the community, 4 hours a month, where they can come in and have these conversations with me around, things that, we're changing in the district, or questions they have and what direction we're going in, or just, coming in to express their concern and just have someone to listen to them. So I've opened up that two-way conversation and allowed people to come in, and that's helped a lot. I think people really respect the fact that we're actually listening to them, and they actually have an opportunity to get their thoughts on the table. And whether I have the answer or not, all these conversations I've had this year have been positive. So that's really helped us too. And I think that's really been seen as a positive for the community, that there's actually someone that will actually hear and listen to their ideas and thoughts.
Sometimes these things that you're talking about, it reminds me of the gift I've had in my career of being in high performing teachers' classrooms at all levels. And I always try and think okay, so there's high performing teachers working in preschools, and there's high performing teachers working in elementary and middle and high school. Is there anything that they all do? Is there any threads? I always try and see, is there any common elements to that? And one of the things that strikes me is, kids in classrooms, the most effective classrooms, feel seen, feel heard. And that could be a 3-year-old, it could be a 17-year-old, but they know this adult is really hearing them and seeing them. And I wondered when you were talking if that isn't kind of a metaphor of what you're doing in terms of the district, right? Really adapting to who are we and wanting to listen, wanting to invite to learn more about, we want to see and hear you. I think organizationally, there's a lesson in there for all of us, and how to make sure that the people we're serving know that we really want them to, feel seen and heard. I wondered, one of the things that I was so excited to hear about is my colleague Carrie Purcell has been bragging about all the work that you do. And one of the things she mentioned specifically was you took a group of students on a trip to Howard University in Washington, D.C. And I'm just excited to hear about, like, how did that whole idea get started, and what did you hope to achieve with it, and anything you want to teach our listeners about, or our viewers about this trip that you took with the students.
Yeah, absolutely. So, this started back in the fall of this past year. The Black Student Union Group at Fitchburg High School came and presented to our resource subcommittee, which is a subcommittee of the full school committee, the idea of supporting them in going to Howard University, which Howard University is a college with a historical Black population. And, they brought the idea to us, and there was a lot of discussion around that. Should we be allowing, or should we be sponsoring a field trip for, the Black Student Union to attend? And, myself and, my assistant superintendent and, other school committee members really felt that it was something we should do. We send a lot, and we sponsor a lot of student activities every year, whether it's a trip to the White Mountains, for our middle schoolers, or a trip to Washington, D.C. We do a lot of different activities, and we really felt that this was something that we should be doing and providing our Black Student Union group with this experience. So, after, a lively discussion, we were able to, get this approved and support our students in attending the event, or the trip. So Mary Alexandra was one of our staff members who took part in the experience, and was chaperoning the field trip. And I'll turn it over to Mary Alexandra to talk a little bit about the experience and how it went.
I had the privilege, and I don't say that lightly. It was an absolute privilege to be able to go on this trip with these students. We had some powerful seniors. We only had seniors go on the trip this year, but we had some really powerful youth go on this trip with us. And like Superintendent Thompson mentioned, they really requested to go to an HBCU. The truth is, we don't live in a predominantly Black area. We do not have many Black teachers in our district. Out of the 740 educators that we have, we only have 23 that are Black. So the chances that they're being taught by educators who look just like them is quite small. So they really wanted to experience being on a campus with the majority of students that looked like them, being around professors who look just like them, and may understand, their learning experience and what they've been through throughout their educational journey. I will say that we were amongst Black excellence, and it was an amazing feeling, not just for me as an adult, but for all of these students. For the duration that we were in Washington, D.C., after the Howard University trip, we would have debriefs every night. We would sit down with the students. We would talk about the day. What was impactful? What did you like? What did you not like? Observations. And their feedback and the things that they said was so powerful, so impactful. We also had the opportunity of visiting the National African American History and Culture Museum. And I don't know if either of you have ever attended, but it is such a powerful, powerful museum. It takes you through these various levels where at the very bottom, it talks about, the history of being Black in America. And then it brings you up to how things have changed, how Black Americans have excelled. But for our students to be around and be surrounded by that Black excellence, for them to envision themselves as nothing but good and great, and being around all of these individuals was extremely impactful. If nothing but that, for our students just to be able to envision themselves in places of power like Washington, D.C., or as making some real powerful change in our society, for that alone, the trip was absolutely worth it.
Sounds so wonderful. The work that you've done, obviously, this is very significant and very powerful. One of the reasons we have this podcast is we want to try and have people get a chance to asynchronously share. It'd be wonderful if they could sit with you all, but that's impractical sometimes when they're in another state and everybody's time. But this is sort of this asynchronous opportunity to share these experiences. So if you were thinking about a team, district leadership team, a school team that was trying to get started with this work of making good on the promise of all means all, is there anything that you've learned along the way that you would suggest for them to consider?
Yeah, I think for me is just, don't think you can't provide the opportunity, right? You have to be able to think outside the box. You have to be willing to kind of, lack of a better term, stick your neck out in order to do this. Because, you always can't keep doing the same old. You have to be innovative. You have to, continue to push that envelope. And I think it's just being able to be, willing to do things, take a risk, because it may not work, you may fail. But I think it's also being able to explain the why behind it. Why is this opportunity? Why you're pushing this opportunity? Why you want to have this? How it's going to benefit the students in the end? I think as long as you can justify yourself, with always bringing it back to students and providing them with opportunity and experiences, I think you'll be able to actually, get the majority of people to back you and support you.
Yeah, to add to that, I would say that collaborating with individuals who are not necessarily part of the cabinet, but to allow other and different perspectives to infiltrate the conversations at the highest level of the school. I think that allowing people to have that seat at that table can bring some really valuable impact to those conversations. One of the things that superintendent did when he became the superintendent, someone needed to take his role as the assistant superintendent. So Superintendent Thompson hired an assistant superintendent who has a lot to offer our district. But not only that, she is someone that doesn't look like anyone in our cabinet. She is someone that doesn't look like anyone at the highest level of our leadership team. She brings a very different perspective. She looks like our students. She speaks the same language as the majority of our students. And that brings a different perspective, and that brings something new, something different, something to our cabinet and to those perspectives and those conversations. And I think that that is something that has made a real impact for us this year. So I would definitely say collaboration and allowing others to have a seat at the table.
Yeah, and so I've spent a lifetime, sort of trying to study what good leadership looks like and what's the impact of good leadership. And one of the things I found myself, I'm a big fan of coaches, whether it's coaches in sports or coaches in business or coaches in. One of my favorite coaches said something one time going into a vital playoff game 7 and was being questioned about, what are you gonna say to the team so that they play great? And he said, what I say to our team is that we can never play perfectly, but our intentions can be perfect. And I love the notion of, like you talked about, taking a risk and getting started, and how it can feel fearful. Like, what if we fail, or what if something goes wrong? But I think if we focus on the idea of, things are going to go wrong, we are going to have times we fail. But if our why is right, then it's okay to get started, even knowing that we may run into some trouble. And it sounds like that's what's at the core of this work that you folks are doing, is you have this tremendous why behind what you're doing. And so it's so impressive to listen to it. I wondered if you also might just talk about like, where are you going next? Like, what's ahead in terms of this All Means All?
One of the things that we've been talking about for years in this district is starting a community resource center. Thinking about, we talked a little bit about earlier with how do we serve, how do we serve all of Fitchburg, not just our students. So what we're doing is this year we're going to be exploring starting a community resource center in our school district. And one of the things that our vision is for this community resource center is to be kind of a hub for anyone in the community that needs some type of assistance. So some of the things that we're looking at having in our community resource center is our enrollment center, where people will come and enroll. But then when they come and enroll, they'll learn about Fitchburg Public Schools and what we have to offer. And we also want to have this space where anyone in the community can come if they're having food insecurities. They can come and get information about different opportunities to get help with food, in addition to housing, in addition to possibly fuel assistance. And then, do we need something around to look at opportunities for transportation, or do we need, do our community members need assistance with job placement? So we're really looking at having, establishing this community resource center to kind of be a beacon for all our families in Fitchburg. We also want it, we want to have our monthly ESL classes located here at our community resource center, and provide a space for our families to actually continue to learn and grow. So we've been having, in the last couple of weeks, been having meetings with our local stakeholders to see how they can actually help us get this community resource center up and launched. And just yesterday we had a conversation with our one of the local banks in Fitchburg that they're going to be willing to actually come and actually provide financial courses for our families around, opening up a checking account, opening up a savings account, how to invest money. We also have a large population of our families who are beginning to open up home daycares. And, what are those home daycares? What are the financial, responsibilities around owning a business? So, this local organization, this bank, is going to actually come in and provide those classes for our families, which we think is great. So, this community resource center has been an idea for us, and we're actually, getting these ideas out on the table now and really seeing, what this actually can look like. And we're going to hopefully, fingers crossed, have this launch during the 25-26 school year and up and running for our community.
Well, so the one place that I think is centering all of our work at in every school district that we work in is our hearts are with the students and trying to make the days that they have in our schools be great, their opportunities when they leave us be abundant. And it's so exciting to talk to folks who have just committed themselves in the way that you have. And I'm always a big fan of when we launch without worrying that it's going to be, safe and perfect the whole time. It's going to be challenging, because I think in the work that we do, there's no way around that. But I think if this continued work of those like leaders like yourselves, where we're saying all means all, and we're going to serve all our students, there's such good news ahead in our schools. So I can't say enough how appreciative we are at Focus Schools for you taking your time out of your busy day to just share, because we like to get the word out to all kinds of people doing the work. And this is an opportunity for people to learn from the work that you've done. So just want to say a thank you to both of you for that.
No, thank you for having us. We appreciate it.
Thank you very much.
And we also want to thank those of you who've taken time to view or listen. We hope that this is an opportunity for you to not only just get wisdom from these folks in Fitchburg, but also others. We do post our video / podcast on our website and focusschools.com. So we encourage you to go there if you'd like to listen to or watch more podcasts, but also to connect with our social media. And please like and follow, because our intention is to try and connect people across the country who are doing this really hard but inspiring work for children. So please make your way there and avail yourself also by sharing what you do, but also learning from others doing the same work you are in other places. We thank you for your time and for all that you do for kids. It is such admirable work, and we appreciate all of you for the efforts that you put in.